Hi everyone, welcome and thanks for joining us for the new Google Sites Q&A. We'll get started here in just 1 minute, but I see everyone's already joining in on the YouTube back channel. This will be archived today, so if you have to pop out, we will definitely still have this archived. We will also archive the chat for you as well. But we'll get going in about 1 minute. So go ahead and introduce yourself in the YouTube back channel. Tell us where you're from, maybe your experience with Google Sites, and we'll get going in just a minute. Awesome, everyone. Thanks again. It looks like we have folks from Vancouver Island, from Melbourne, from San Francisco, Roseville. Thanks, everyone, for joining us today. We're really excited to be joined by Emily Fitzpatrick in Ontario, too. So there's some Ontario folks in the crowd, but she's here to share with us all of the new great things happening with Google Sites. We know it's been a long time coming, and EdTechTeam is really excited to just help share with our community best practices and how to transition from a new tool like this. And if you RSVP'd and shared some questions or thoughts there, it looks like we're all across the board. Looks like a lot of us have used Google Sites extensively in the previous iteration before. Some of us are brand new. So hopefully Emily can share with us, the feedback so far has been that it's pretty easy to use. So, and hopefully she can technically answer any questions you have about maybe some features that you're not seeing yet and what the rollout might look like. But again, go ahead and throw your questions that you might have into the chat. And Emily, go ahead and take it away.
Hey guys.
Great, your audio sounds awesome, Emily. I'll let you take it away.
Perfect. All right, so what we're gonna do tonight is we're gonna look at the new Google Sites. I'm gonna give you guys about 15 minutes of a demo. And what's really great about this is that if you can follow along, that would be great. And then you can pop your questions into the chat. And then at the end, I'll answer some of the pre-sent in questions, and then we'll do a live Q&A at the end. So I'm just going to take a moment and share my screen with you. So what's really cool about, oh, wait.
Great, I see your site.
Awesome. So what's really cool about Google Sites is the new one was released today, so everybody should have access to it. And there's two really easy ways to get there. The first one is to go to sites.google.com, but put the /new at the end, and then that will take you there to the new site. Something different from classic sites onto new sites would be that we can also get to sites from our Google Drive, which now means all of our Google Sites have the sharing capacity that a regular Google Doc or Google Slide Deck would already have. So if you guys go to your Drive, then you can just click on that new button. And then when we go and look under more, you're gonna start to see Google Sites there. And by clicking on that Google Sites, you'll be popped into the new Google Sites, where then you can start to make your very first one. So everybody's Google site kind of looks the same when we first start. And what you'll notice already is that just by clicking two buttons, I have a brand new site. I can title it here. I don't have to pre-title it before or pick the theme before. Everything's really dynamic. So up at the top, where it says Untitled Site, that's where you can put in the name of your site. And just by clicking off of it, you have your site titled. Now, a lot of you might be thinking, hey, this looks a lot like Google Forms, and it does. If you look over on your right-hand side, you kind of have the menu bar that's always going to be there. You have the Insert, Pages, and Themes. Let's go ahead and click on those themes. And what you're going to notice is you have 6 themes to choose from right now. For each theme, you have 5 colors you can pick from. And then for each color and each theme, you have 3 different types of fonts. Now, for some people who are used to the classic sites and being able to put in whatever kind of theme they want, this one is a little bit more restricting. And when I first started to play with Google Sites, I was like, this is not very fun. I have to follow like the simple pink with classic font. But what I found is that because it's limiting the types of color schemes that we can use, my sites are looking a lot more cleaner and a lot more focused. So I'm going to go down. I really like the level one, and I'm going to do a green with that type of font. If we go into Insert, this is where the power of the new Google Sites really comes through. And it's the awesome integration with all of our other G Suite tools. So you can see right from here, if we go down, we can insert directly from Drive, which means anything you can store in your Drive, you can now put into your Google site. You can add a whole folder. But then you can also embed a YouTube video, calendar, or a map, as well as pull all of your Google Docs, slide sheets. You can see that giant list there. If we go ahead and click on one of the top 4, I like clicking on text box to start it off. And you'll notice you can type right in there. Now, the new Google Sites, it works in rectangles. So you can see the highlighted rectangle I've got. Now, with Google Sites just opening, you can only build within your rectangle horizontally. You can't build vertically within the same rectangle. But if you click on them, on your text box or your image or whatever it was that you inserted, you can click on those blue circles, and that will let you resize it. Now, when you do resize it, you'll notice those kind of grayed out vertical lines. Those are predetermined sizes that you can then make your item inserted that size. You can't go in between because it's just going to bump it out. You have to pick one of those sizes. But this means that we can set half of the size for the homepage text, and then I can go in and maybe I grab a picture of a puppy because puppies are cute. And I can click and drag my puppy so that I have both an image and a text box on there. What you'll notice is that you can't center that text yet. Right now, everything starts from the top of your rectangle and builds down. If you're looking up here at the banner, it's really simple to title that page. So all we have to do is click on that, and I can type right in. Again, I get those blue dots, so I can make it bigger, or I can make it smaller. When you hover over top of your banner, you're going to see that you have two options that come up. Let's click on header type. And you'll notice you have 3 options. You can make a taller banner or a shorter banner, or you can get rid of the picture completely and just do your title. Really up to you, and those can change depending on which page you're on. If we leave it on a banner and we go back, we can also click change image. So you're not stuck with the one that the theme gives you. You can go in here, and Google has already provided us with some gallery options. We can do solid colors, patterns, pictures, all types of images. But what you also notice is that we can upload from our computers, we can search from a website, or search from Google Images itself. And what's really neat about this is that these results, just like in Google Doc or in Google Slide Deck, are available for commercial reuse with modification. So we're okay to use these ones. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pick the beach, because right now it's kind of cold here in Canada with some snow, so beach would be nice. What we can also do is when we go in and we want to embed one of our, let's say a Google Doc. Before, it was kind of touch and go if it worked, or depending on the size, you have to get the size right. What we can do right now is we can click on just Google Docs from our right-hand menu. And what we get to do is, or what appears is that we get all of our Google Docs. We get the ones that we most recently had edited, but then up at the top, using the magnifying glass, we could also search. I have a Google Doc right here. Once I click it once, I can then go insert. And you'll notice all of the items that we insert go below the rectangle that you've most recently clicked. I can resize this guy again just by using those blue dots. And I can pick and choose how big I want it to go. Going bigger, you're going to see that that page gets larger. And that works for Google Slides. You can have it the size of a full slide, or you can have it as a little part of the slide. Let's say we wanted to add an image now. What we can do is we can go over to our menu again, click on Pages, and just by clicking the Page Plus button, we get ourselves a new page. So maybe I have an About Me page. By clicking Done, I have my new page. What's even easier about this is I can click these 6 dots and drag them to reorder them. So I can reorder it without going into a second or a separate menu. If I want About Me to be under my home page, all I do is drag it up, and you can see that little white dot appear, and that means that I've now inserted that page under the home page. Right now in new Google Sites, you can't add more than one page under a page. So I couldn't do an About Me and then another page under the About Me. That's something I hope that they change, but right now that's where we're at. I can also click on those 3 dots right there, and you can see that from one click of a button, I can set that as my home page, I can rename it, or I can just delete it right away. I'm going to show you a few geeky hacks with new Google Sites right now. What you can see up here is you can see that I have a drop-down menu across the top. Some people like to have it over on the side that it hides, especially when you have lots of pages. So if you hover over that top bar, you're going to see this gear appear. By clicking that, you can change it from a top navigation to a side navigation. If we go back to my home page and click on our text, again, if we hover over one of the rectangles, we can just click those 8 dots now, and we can move that entire rectangle. So we're not moving individual pieces, we're moving it all together. So if there's one section I need to put to the bottom of the page or all the way to the top of the page, it's quite quick. But also while I hover over top of that rectangle, I can go ahead and I can click this painter's palette. And what's kind of neat is that gives me some background on that rectangle. Now the colors are determined by the theme that you picked. So if you don't like the colors that are there, you're going to have to go in and change your theme. But if I really wanted this rectangle to stand out, I can maybe go with emphasis 2. And now I've got that green. If I wanted to make my home page more stand out, again, I can go from no more text to a title. And I can also center it. Maybe we make it a little bit bigger so it looks like one word. There we go. Last thing I want to show you guys is how to preview and how to publish. So what's really cool about the new Google Sites is, like Google Docs and Google Slides, we don't have a save button. Everything saves as we go. And what's even cooler is that it saves also without publishing. So this site isn't live on the web right now. So if I'm in the middle of updating things, or I'm not sure if I want to push it out to the world yet, I don't have to, but my site's still there. If I go up at the top, kind of just like our forms, and we click on that preview button, the one with the eyeball in it, you'll see that my site becomes live without actually publishing it. Down at the bottom, I can see it on different devices and what that's going to look like. Clicking that X gets me out of that preview button. As our new site's saved in Google Drive, we can then add collaborators. So if we go to that share button, that add editors, this guy looks really similar to how we share other tools. So if we can go click change, and we can share within our domain, outside of our domain, add specific people, all sorts of things. So if I wanted to add Wendy, I can, and it's right there. And then that will give those people who I add editing access to my site. So they'll be able to collaborate with me. For publishing, all we have to do is click on that giant publish button. I can name my site, so I can put in my own site location. Right now on mine, you can see anyone at EdTechTeam is going to be able to visit my site. Depending on your domain setup, you might be able to publish that to the world. And I also have the option of appearing into the search results or not. So I have a little bit of power over that. Embedding HTML is something that a lot of people have been asking for, and right now that is not available in Google Sites yet. You can embed a URL, which will just make a clickable link, so you can hyperlink all of those options. All right, Wendy, I think we are good for Q&A if you are there. I know that there were two big questions. One is what's going to happen to my classic sites. So I have this awesome site made in classic sites, and now they're doing this whole like new sites thing. What's going to happen? So what we have been told is that in 2017, there is going to be a recommended plan or an app or a tool on how we can start migrating classic sites to our new sites. What's kind of nice is that if you have lots of old or previous used classic sites that you don't use anymore, this will give you a way of not migrating them over, and you can just have the ones that you use. Another big question was, are my classic sites going to be deleted? So Google has told us that they will be deleted at some point, but you're going to have at least 1 year notice when they're going to shut down classic sites. And that's kind of not in the plans until 2018. So we've got a lot of time to start transferring over to new sites. So if you guys want to go ahead and pop some of your questions into that chat, I'll be able to go ahead and answer some of them to the best of my abilities. For additional features in new Google Sites, I'm not sure if those are going to become features, when they're going to become features. I'm with you guys, and I cannot wait. Fingers crossed that HTML embedding will be available for that. Some of you guys have asked about page level permissions. Right now, that's not an option, but you can go ahead and you can insert a Google Doc or a slide deck or a sheet that has specific permissions on it. So if I have my Google Doc that only myself and my students can see, then even if somebody gets to that site and they're not myself or my students, they're still not going to be able to see it. But you're going to have to do it within one of the G Suite tools. Kate, I'm not sure what that migration process is going to look like. I don't know if it's going to be simple or time consuming. So you're going to have to make your best bet there. There's a question about clickable images. Let's give it a try, because I'm not 100% sure on that one. Let's go take a look back at that Google site. So if I insert an image, yeah, so I can link it. So maybe this is going to go to, I apply it, and let's do a preview of it. Yes, that image then becomes clickable, so I can go straight there. Very cool. Reading through some more of these questions. Yes, Susie, you can totally upload a folder. Those are available too. So right now, people have been asking about templates for e-portfolios to push them out to students. Right now, there is no templates in new Google Sites. Depending on the age of your students may be able to make a site just as quickly as you would be able to, and then push it out as a template, because a lot of it is just click and drag in.
Great, guys. Keep those questions coming in. Looks like we have a question about announcements and maybe if the tests are changing, Emily?
I am not sure about that one. I believe that the Google Educator, or for Google for Education certified trainers and innovator tests may or may not be updated, but I'm sure that they post that when it's there.
Awesome. Joanne from Colorado, thanks for joining us, Joanne. Anybody have any ideas around search within the site option? And it looks like Lorinda just shared that she did the level 1 test yesterday and it included the new sites. So,
hey, awesome. Thank you.
and Emily, Susie is wondering about inserting tables.
So like inserting a table by itself, Susie, or through a Google Doc? So there is no way that you can insert right now a table as part of kind of that text box option. What you could do if you needed a table is use a sheet and embed that, or a Google Doc and embed that in there. But yeah, right now that text box is strictly text, or you can do bullet points or numerical bullet points.
Awesome. Thanks, Emily. Sasha's shared here in the chat some strategies beyond the templates, so you can share with someone, make them co-owner, and then make a copy, and then retract co-owner. So it's great to see people coming up with creative ways, workarounds. Any other thoughts around template workarounds, Emily?
Yeah, that creating a co-owner is such a great kind of hack for the new Google Sites, definitely. You could also make them yourself. So if you know exactly what it is that you want, because it's so quick to make a site, you could go ahead and do that.
Awesome. Thanks, Emily. Scott, hey, Scott, thanks for joining us. And some questions around hierarchical menus, possible like classic, not any other workarounds or thoughts around that, Emily, or in the chat?
So I'm not 100% sure what you mean by hierarchical menus. You're talking about like the site navigation pages. You can go one level right now, so that you would just have like your home page and then your About Me page, rather than like a home page, About Me page, and then like continuing from that. My guess, and this is totally my guess, as Google Sites keeps developing, we're going to see more and more features available on it that makes it look a little bit more like classic sites.
Awesome. Yeah, it looks like Scott said submenus, clarified a bit.
Yeah, so those just go based on your pages right now.
Cool. And how about making a copy of the new sites?
New sites, there is no make a copy right now. So you're going to have to go in, and if you're making a whole bunch of sites, or if you want your students to, what you could just do is make them all together and then get them to add you as an editor or a collaborator on it. So that it's really all of your students have their own site and you have access to it as well.
Awesome. Thanks, Emily. And Walter popped in, but old Google Sites still be available? What's the old sites transition to new sites?
So from what we've been told is old sites is going to still be available in 2018. They're going to start to look at shutting down old sites. But from that announcement, you'll have a year out from that. So for the rest of this school year, and most likely the rest of next school year, classic sites will still be there.
And Emily will be driving in a self-driving car to her class tonight then anyway, right?
Definitely, I like that.
Awesome, everyone. We've got about 2
pages.
minutes left of Emily's time today.
I think to
final question.
Lewis's question of it seems like there's a loss in some of the functionality of it. We've got to keep in mind that this is just launching. Like today is the first day everybody has access to new Google Sites. And just like when new Google Forms came out, there were no add-ons. Now we've got lots of add-ons. So I think I believe that lots of these things will be coming for sure.
Awesome, Emily. And what's the best way? I think on our blog, I'll drop the link in, but we just have a great new 10 tips from Monica Martinez that she wrote, so I'll throw in from the blog. That's a great way to get going. Any other tips for someone just jumping in? Obviously, they can hopefully do all the things that you just showcased for us, but where else they might be able to go if they have questions? Can they contact you? Obviously, the EdTechTeam community, if you folks aren't a part of that yet, super responsive. A lot of you are in that community answering questions, sharing best practices, but any other thoughts for taking it to the next step with Google Sites now that it's open and free?
So Lisa will be doing a new Google Sites during Google for Education's EDU on Air. So that's a really great place to go for that. Of course, reach out to me if you've got any questions. And then kind of the Twitterverse is blowing up with new sites as well. So looking at kind of the @Google for EDU or @EdTechTeam or #EdTechTeam, you'll start to see lots of people talking about this and lots of new sites. And what I really like to do is when I see a new site and I'm like, ooh, how did they do that? Just reach out to the person who created it, and they're most likely ready to share that with you. But I'll pop my Twitter handle as well as my email into that chat. So don't hesitate to reach out.
Awesome, Emily. Thank you so much. And thanks to everyone coming to the chat and sharing. We totally encourage you guys, if you want, on our Twitter at EdTechTeam, share screenshots and ideas. And, you know, that's how we all learn from each other for sure. So don't be shy with each other as well. We're so excited to see what's possible with these. It's been a long time coming. So it's going to be so great to see what beautiful sites that you can create for your students and that your students can create. And we will archive this chat because it's just chock full of good ideas and questions. And if we didn't get to your questions, we'll try to definitely post those into the community as well. Thank you so much, Emily, for making it tonight. Really appreciate it. And we'll go ahead and I will choose somebody from our chat to give one of our EdTechTeam Press books away, just because it's so fun. You guys all spent your afternoon with us. Who's our winner? I'm gonna choose Susie Blackstein Adler. Yay, you win. So we'll message you. But again, follow us at EdTechTeam. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you soon. Thanks, Emily.
Excellent. Bye, guys.